This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
If it goes well, we're going to end up settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
Everybody was flying everywhere. I mean, it was chaos.
Congress needs to get to work, get it done. The American people don't deserve this.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Deadline delayed. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. After weekend threats to blast Iran's energy infrastructure, President Trump pivoted to a 5-day delay, citing progress in talks with unspecified Iranian officials toward a peaceful exit from the war, now in week 4.
We'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
We may be talking with Iran, but with whom? Iran's parliament speaker says no talks are taking place with the established government, accusing the U.S. and Israel of trying to just manipulate world markets. Trump says the U.S. isn't talking with the new Ayatollah, but with a, quote, respected leader. Not saying who that is, though. While Trump may have paused some attack plans, Iran did not this weekend. Missiles evading Israeli defenses and injuring scores of people.
If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu still critical securing the Strait of Hormuz, through which much of the world's oil flows. Europe has been hesitant in joining that effort, but NATO's Secretary General says
European allies and partners all over the world have used the last couple of weeks to make sure that we come together, started planning to see what we can do collectively as allies, as partners of the United States for the Strait of Hormuz to open up.
An Iranian missile launch against the island of Diego Garcia caught Europe and others by surprise, since that means they have missiles well in reach of most of the continent. Operations have resumed at New York's LaGuardia Airport after a Canada Air pilot and co-pilot died when their plane struck an airport fire engine that wasn't supposed to be on the runway they were landing on. As heard in this air traffic control radio exchange between another pilot and the ground controller, it was apparently a tragic mistake.
That was a kid to watch. Yeah, I know I was here. I tried to reach out to my stuff, and we were dealing with an emergency earlier. I messed up. No, man, he did the best he could.
Former FAA safety official Kyle Bailey tells Fox News it underscores how hazardous a busy airport like LaGuardia can be.
LaGuardia is on a very small parcel of property with intersecting runways. It's a very dangerous airport because of the short runways and, all the different taxiways.
Passenger Jack Cabot tells Fox,
Like a regular flight, like always, but as we were arriving, we came down really hard, and then we stopped really quickly, and about 2 seconds later, we just had an absolute, slam. Everybody was flying everywhere. I mean, the plane started veering off left and right. It was chaos.
Dozens of passengers were injured in that 100-mile-per-hour runway collision. Can ICE help cool tempers at airport check-in lines? ICE agents now deployed to many of the nation's major airports as TSA officers continue to work without pay. Trump administration ordered the move as that partial government shutdown drags on. ICE agents helping with crowd control as lines at security checkpoints grow longer. Many TSA workers calling in sick or just quitting. This passenger in a long line at Atlanta's airport this morning telling Fox she's had enough.
Congress needs to get to work, get it done. The American people don't deserve this. TSA needs to get paid. This is ridiculous.
Not every airport is backed up, though. In Rochester, New York, for example, Frederick Douglass Greater Rochester International Director Andy Moore says their average wait time's just 20 minutes.
Yeah, we are not impacted by any shutdown or anything along those lines that you see on national media and social media at other airports across New York State or across the country.
Rochester uses private screeners through a TSA partnership program. Chaos in paradise. The Hawaiian island of Oahu continuing to recover after major flooding that destroyed a lot of homes, prompted a lot of rescues as well. Flood survivor Noah Pang tells Fox,
a bunch of rain with a bunch of warnings last week. And then this one was very dangerous. We didn't get warnings. All of these families that I know back here there was no sirens. And at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, they were swimming in their house. And their house was going down the river.
Officials say it's the worst flooding they've seen there in 2 decades. She may have been best known for her role as Miss Tessmacher in the Superman films.
Why did you kiss me first?
I didn't think you'd let me later.
Thank you, Miss Tessmacher.
Why is it I can't get it on with a good guy?
Oscar-nominated actress Valerie Perrine, dead at the age of 82. Her friend Stacey Souther confirming her passing on Facebook, writing that she faced Parkinson's disease with incredible courage and compassion, never once complaining. Along with the Superman movies, Perrine was best known for her performance in the 1974 biopic Lenny, as well as movies like Slaughterhouse-5 and The Electric Horseman. And the U.S. Supreme Court today hearing oral arguments in a case about whether states may count mail-in ballots received after Election Day. All 50 states require mail-in ballots to be postmarked by Election Day, but 14 states, including New York, have grace periods where ballots that are submitted by Election Day can be counted even if they arrive late. The case comes out of Mississippi. Court experts say the conservative justices seemed skeptical of the state's argument to allow it. The Supreme Court is expected to decide on that case by the end of June. Still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories and highlights from today's issues in education. Checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. The so-called Fairness Act up for a vote tomorrow in Pennsylvania. We get a preview from Family Life's Sarah Harnish.
The Fairness Act, a package of 7 bills, would prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, strengthen hate crime laws, and redefine marriage in the state code to include same-sex couples. Proponents say it strengthens civil rights laws, but opponents like the Pennsylvania Family Institute warned the bill will restrict religious freedom and free speech. They say faith-based organizations could be forced to employ people that blatantly disregard their religious beliefs. The bill passed a House committee earlier this month and is now up for a vote before the full House. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Thank you, Sarah. Pennsylvania schools are grappling with how to bring cursive handwriting back into the classroom. Hillary Gerline is supervisor of curriculum at Mill Creek Township School District.
As teachers, it's always one more thing we're adding to them, so it's really important that we figure out where it would best fit so that we're not just adding it on top of everything else.
Districts are being advised to begin implementing lessons as early as April, with full plans in place for the 2026-27 school year. This parent tells Erie News Now she's relieved.
When I hear that some kids aren't able to read cursive, I think, oh no, we need to make sure that we still use cursive so that they can read old historical documents too.
Educators say cursive supports brain development, strengthens memory, and increases hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills. New York Governor Kathy Hochul wrapping up a roundtable in Albany on affordable housing, saying there's too much red tape in the Empire State for that.
When a community says yes to projects, whether it's new housing, whether it's infrastructure, and government is in the way, that dynamic has been failing us for a long time. So it's now time to get government out of the way and let them build.
The governor says builders can face years of red tape or litigation in New York before they're able to even break ground.
They should not get trapped in bureaucracy, which can lead to upwards of 2 years of additional review mandated by the state. And sometimes developers would just say it's just not worth it.
Hochul's Let Them Build agenda reforms the state's Environmental Quality Review Act to try to accelerate construction. Interesting weather this weekend. Heat records broken in 170 cities from California to the East Coast on Sunday. One of those cities, Pennsylvania state capital Harrisburg, where it reached 80 degrees, tying the previous record for that date set in 1938. Second time this month that temperatures in Harrisburg have hit 80. The first on March 10th, when the city also broke a record high for the day. All right, up next, highlights from this week's Issues in Education. Among the issues, Bob Price tackles with Dr. Ralph Kerr from the Teaching and Learning Institute in Houghton, New York, Governor Kathy Hochul's plan to equip nearly a dozen SUNY schools with daycare centers for adult learners with children.
Each of these schools are getting $200,000 to do the necessary retrofitting. Ralph, is this money well spent, in your opinion?
Well, this is like so many things. There's a couple of sides to the story. People might say, well, this is really mission creep. SUNY schools are supposed to be in the business of providing education, and they are doing it for free, by the way.
Yeah.
But here they want to add daycare to accommodate young women that are interested in getting an education, but simply can't afford daycare, even though the tuition at the school is free. On the other hand, I'm supportive of it. I think it has long-term benefits for these student learners because they can get a job in an area that we need people, which will increase the workforce participation participation, which is really a good thing. Secondly, I think it will reduce dropouts at the schools because sometimes these young women get into situations because of a lack of daycare where they end up just saying, you know what, I just can't do this anymore.
There's a study, I had to pick your brain on this because this is such an issue in young people nowadays, mental health. A study by Johns Hopkins University shows depression and suicidal ideations are stubbornly high among college kids, despite a lot of effort now by the universities to combat this. What is going on in the minds of young adults in this country, Ralph?
Some of these, I think, are valid. Others, I really question. Academic pressures. Some students are getting a lot of pressure from their parents about their academic performance, and maybe some scholarships are involved. And there's certainly financial stress. The bigger issue, really, I think, is the social media. You got Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
A lot of loneliness and social isolation comes as a result of that. You got substance abuse. I think if young people had a relationship with Jesus Christ, they would be able to deal a lot more with the pressures of life changes that they're experiencing.
Yeah.
I know in our church, I want to just salute John Cole, who's our youth pastor. He does a great job with the young people, and I just wish that more of these young people that are dealing with these mental health issues would be more active in their church and develop a relationship with Jesus Christ.
And having known John for a long time, played a lot of noon ball with John. He is such a great guy. And we'll give a plug for Christian universities because I wonder if they have this as much at a university like Houghton as they would at other schools.
Yeah, well, even at Houghton, they do have more and more people that are seeing counselors. But again, the counseling that the students are getting is with a Christian emphasis.
Yeah.
And I think there is a big difference in that as well. So go Houghton University.
There you go. Once a Highlander, always a Highlander.
There you go.
Well, speaking of schools, there are 5 high schools in central New York. This was a huge story last week, Ralph. Rome Free Academy, my wife's alma mater, Utica Proctor, Cicero North Syracuse, Henninger, a football powerhouse there, and Liverpool, all refusing to play the big one, Christian Brothers Academy, in football next year. They've taken Christian Brothers off the schedule. What is going on here, Ralph, and do you agree with the action taken by these 5 schools?
Well, here's the thing. Christian Brothers Academy just happens to have won the last 3 state championships in football, and the scores in those games were maybe 48-7, 45-3.
Yeah.
Now, this is a state championship we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I applaud these schools that are just saying, you know, we have the option to move from Tier 1 to Tier 2 in our region, and we're going to do that. I think it brings up a much greater issue, though, that you and I have lived through on more than one occasion. The whole issue of private schools with their ability to recruit from anywhere they want to versus a public school that has to use students that live within their district boundaries. So it's a whole different ballgame that we're into. And I feel badly in one sense for the Christian Brothers Academy because in order to complete their schedule, they're going to have to make long trips up to Massachusetts and Vermont and the Buffalo area rather than playing schools nearby them. But I think for the schools that have made this decision, they recognize that playing a school like CBA, the score is always too lopsided.
Yeah.
Their players end up being demoralized, and it's not even competition. So it's an important issue, and I'm glad that these schools have taken this stand at this time on it. Maybe it'll cause the State Athletic Association to take a look again at the whole thing of private versus public schools in all sports.
Thanks, guys. Highlights from this week's Issues in Education. You can hear the entire feature and all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
You've probably heard the saying, you'll never see a hearse pulling a U-Haul. Hi, I'm Rob West with the Faith and Finance Minute. It's a humorous reminder that we can't take our possessions with us when we die. In fact, 1 Timothy 6:7 says, we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it. But that doesn't mean we should ignore what we leave behind. Through a will or trust, you can decide who will manage what God has entrusted to you. Unfortunately, many people avoid estate planning, leaving those decisions to the probate court instead. But as stewards, we're called to plan wisely. Will what you leave behind be a blessing or a burden? You can't take it with you, but you can leave a legacy that reflects God's wisdom and advances His kingdom. We can help you learn to manage your money according to biblical principles when you download the free FaithFi app. You'll find it on our website at faithfi.com.
Thanks, Rob. Finally at 5.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
Houston has long been associated with helping launch things into space. This weekend, space returned the favor.
Don't see that! It's going to be an explosion. It's a meteorite or a missile fell out of the sky.
An estimated 1-ton meteor traveling 35,000 miles per hour made for a Texas-sized surprise as it entered the atmosphere and broke apart.
It was just like a boom!
That's how an Ohio man described another recent meteor that rained meteorite chunks there. Folks in Houston also heard a loud sonic boom this weekend. Resident Sherry James heard more. She was home when a piece of that Houston meteor made a house call, telling KPRC.
I come on over here and look. There's a hole in the ceiling, a big dent in the floor, and there's a big rock on the floor. And it just scared me to death.
Understandably so, but once she got over the shock of it, she says it was kind of cool, too.
I was excited. I'm a big sci-fi nut, and I was like, this is definitely something I want to keep.
Probably the only thing more unlikely than her home being struck is that her homeowner's policy covers meteorite damage. And that's the world we live in for Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.